Mr. Math here. Thanks for watching my videos. Be sure to like and subscribe and remember to ring the bell to be notified of updates. Hello viewers. We are checking out the Fire Emblem Fortune Weave Direct. It's been well over a week since it happened, and we've all kind of digested it and done some thinking about it. So I have some thoughts of my own, and so we're going back over the Direct. I'm going back over the Direct. I hope you enjoyed doing that with me. Yeah, I have a bunch of thoughts. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's going to be my first Fire Emblem game ever. I'm not going to play it on the channel, though. Yeah, RPGs in general, yeah, not really, what with the style that I play games, not really fun to put it on the channel. Not fun for me, probably not much fun to watch either. So yeah, I'm not going to be playing it on the channel, but I'm going to be playing it in my own time. It's going to be my first Fire Emblem game ever. So let's actually watch the Direct, and I'll share my thoughts about it. So,
come, celebrate the second birth of this world's rightful ruler.
So all the stuff
At the advent of the underworld
that we've seen about the game before has implied that this happens at the end. But based on the stuff that this Direct shows us, and thinking about it over the past week or so, I think this is actually the start of the game. I think that stuff happens at the start of the game. We'll go into more into that later. And I saw a lot of people react really funny to this suddenly getting cut off like that.
The Dagdan Empire, a land at the peak of prosperity under the rule of the gods.
A lot of people are pointing this date to say that this is a sequel to Three Houses.
Bustling markets, ports teeming with trading ships.
But based on what I've, my
other
very
establishments
thin
line
research,
the
that's
crowded
not
streets.
quite so
This
obvious.
is also where the heroic games are held in tribute to Dagda.
Rather sequel or
Empire's
prequel.
first and
But
founding king.
a lot of people are using that date to say that it's a sequel. But it might not be.
It's said that Solel, the current ruler, will grant one wish to whoever wins the games.
One wish.
Those vying for the prize hold strength, determination, and undying convictions they refuse to yield.
I wonder what those wishes are going to turn out to be. The implication is pretty clear when you see their
The
backstories.
story revolves around
still.
4 heroes who have entered the heroic games. Who you choose will determine how the narrative unfolds.
I have to say, of the 4, Theodora is talking to me most. The other 3 are
is a young boy living
very
in the peaceful village
anime-tropish.
of Ribera. On his 15th birthday, his father is imprisoned beneath Daxian for crimes committed.
Like Kai here, he's very much the stereotypical callow
In hope
youth.
of a peaceful life as a family, he sets out with his childhood friends to win the heroic games and save his father.
And, not saying that's a bad thing. Similar here, Dietrich is just, the,
Dietrich,
heartless jackass who just, wants to become stronger,
sailing a stormy sea.
wants to test himself. And again, not a bad
He then
thing.
washes ashore in the foreign land of Dagda.
These kinds of anime tropes are classic tropes for a reason. It just doesn't talk to me personally. Theodora, on the other hand, she has more to her than
To
that.
slake his thirst for battle, Dietrich decides to compete in the heroic games with new allies at his side.
That settles it. Time to hit the road. To Daxian.
Hailing from the kingdom of Ceramus in the south, Theodora represents a culture that worships the keeper of death and night, a goddess loathed throughout the lands.
And yeah, being a ruler of a country is
Swearing to restore
pretty
the honor
anime
of the
tropish in
goddess
its own
and
right.
defend the faith of
But
the
that whole
people
thing
and
about,
peace of her
worshipping
kingdom.
death and night,
Theodora leads her veteran retainers
that
into
actually
battle
has a bit
with the
more
goal
flavor
of
to
winning
it.
the games.
It brings to mind classic Greek mythology, where Hades, the god of the underworld, was just
Born into prestige
and
blessed
basically a
with
kind of
musical
service employee, you
Lita
might
is
say.
consumed by rage, following her
And now
father's
here we have
murder
the,
at hands of an
hot-headed
unknown
revenge
assailant.
seeker.
Having given everything to seek revenge.
But yeah,
she eventually
in
learns
classic
the
Greek
killer's
mythology,
plan to
Hades is basically just a
participate in
service
heroic
employee
games.
taking care of business.
Alive! I will kill him.
He's
bring an
portrayed
end
as a
to
villain
the
in a lot of
murder
modern
of her
stuff,
father.
but
Lita heads to
in
Daxium,
the
a
classic
supportive
sense,
companion
he
in
wasn't a
tough
bad
times.
guy. He was just, there doing a job. Same kind of thing, I suspect.
I'm sorry, Theodora, but I won't be letting you take the victory today.
If victory is decided by conviction alone, then I think it shall not be up to you.
A lot of interesting stuff here.
I have burned to duel you, white-maned demon.
White Mane Demon, that in particular is really interesting. Because that's what Lita here said about the guy who murdered her father. She called him a white Mane Demon. So is he going to be some kind of larger villain in these games?
Going into each match, you'll choose your party members and their initial placement.
Okay,
on
so
the
now we
field.
have the
Then
here's how to
let
play the game if you're a
battle
newbie
commence.
section. A lot of people complain about this in various
Is
directs.
shown in blue.
Like for example, the Splatoon Raiders direct about a month ago,
All of your units have completed
month and a
their
half at this
actions.
point.
Your
A lot of
opponent's
people
turn
really
begins.
complained.
You'll take turns
A lot of
moving
Splatoon
and
tubers
fighting
complain,
across
this
the
is the
map
section
as
where
you
they tell you of the
engage
basics of how to
fierce
swim
combat.
through the ink and all that. You
Includes defeating
you
the
do want to
enemies
put that in there for
among
people
other
who are new
conditions.
to the whole thing. Same kind of idea here.
The four heroes and their allies can utilize various means of
Showing the
attack.
basics of the gameplay.
Swords are straightforward.
But like getting back
easy
to that interesting part
Gauntlets make
where
it
we
easy
saw
to evade.
Kai talking to Theodora and then
Deal massive damage
Dietrich
to
talking to the
cavalry.
White Mane Demon and Lita talking to Kai.
Your axes have
I
low
wonder how much of that
accuracy
there
and
is
high
in the
attack
game.
power.
How much do the four heroes
Bows
interact?
strike enemies at a distance
Because
and can
when
deal
you're
fatal blows to
on
flying units.
just one particular track,
And magic is effective
like I'm going to be
against
playing
foes
Theodora
with heavy
first.
armor.
When I'm
It can
playing
also
Theodora,
heal or
how
otherwise support
often
allies
is
in
she
dire
going to encounter
situations.
Kai
There are
and
also
Dietrich
swords
and
that
Lita?
call
And
down
what's
lightning,
their
gauntlets that look like
this
firearms,
part, the
and other unique
gauntlet gun?
weapons to fight.
None with a gun. That's been
Positioning is a
memed
key
to
element of combat.
the underworld and back already.
When you strike within an enemy's range of attack,
But yeah, how much are the four going to be interacting with each other during this portion of the game?
consider attacking those equipped with close-range weapons from a distance, and get up close.
And also,
personal
how
against
much
long-range
does-
opponents to avoid
How much do they
counterattacks.
influence each other? Like, is
The terrain
Lita's
can also give you
target
an advantage.
going to be some kind of,
While adjacent
higher
allies
order
receive
villain for
buffs.
all four of them?
Take advantage of the situation.
Is that why
to
Dietrich
control
was
the battlefield
telling
in
the
your
White
favor.
Mane Demon that he was burning
Combat
to
arts are attacks
fight
unleashed
him?
at the expense of weapon durability. There are attacks with greater power.
And is he gonna turn out to have influence on
longer
Kai
range,
and Theodora also? Like
other
maybe he was somehow
advantageous
behind
effects.
the deal
So
with
use
Kai's
them in
father.
decisive moments.
Maybe he was somehow involved in Theodora's backstory. Oh, the blaze
There are
art's
also
okay.
special moves that consume your soul in exchange for power, called blaze arts. Kai releases a burst of otherworldly
Like,
power.
where the heck did Kai get that
to
thing in
cast
his
flames
hand?
in a wide
Like, he has a
area.
gem kind of
After moving, Dietrich's
kind of
black cloak
surgically
morphs
implanted
into
in his
locations on
hand
the
that gives
battlefield
that apparently
aren't
gives him
easily
that power.
accessible.
How did that happen? I'm really curious to
Theodora
learn about how
uses
all
the
that
power
happened.
inherited from her ancestors.
And not just Kai, but all
to
four of
threaten
them.
the earth and hurl it at
How did
foes.
Dietrich get that cloak? How does Lita have this, this stringed instrument that can do this fancy
Summon
stuff?
a powerful monster and more. These special moves can turn the tide of battle, but at the cost
I really
of
am
the hero's
curious to
health
find
points.
out how that comes into play.
Additionally, if your allies fall in battle,
I think I need a break.
you can turn back time. After each move, you
Not
can
too
rewind to
sure
any
how I'm
previous
gonna be
point in
playing this
battle,
game.
So don't be afraid to rethink
This part
your
of the game.
strategy if things don't go as planned.
Because it is possible to turn on, it's possible to turn off the classic
Based on their
permadeath.
class, such as Shido, who are
And
skilled
yeah,
with
I'm not sure how I'm going to
swords,
be approaching that.
Bardingers, who fight on horseback, and bishops, who
Now we
use
hear about
white
the
magic.
character classes here.
A unit's abilities can change dramatically. The weapons they can wield.
I'm going to agree with the majority on this one. I really like the
range of movement
outfits
also vary.
that they show there.
Classes are divided into beginner, specialty, and advanced tiers. Beginner classes are the foundation. Gladiators excel in handling weapons. Diviners can wield magic. And Orneus riders can cover more ground. There are 5 beginner classes in all. Specialty classes have more specific.
So there were those 3, and then there were Shido and Bishop.
Armored knights boast ironclad defense with heavy armor. Wing soldiers can leap obstacles and cover long distances, while charioteers can strike multiple
But yeah,
enemies
those
in a
blaze
straight
arts.
line.
How exactly did those things
There
come
are
about?
over 10 to
Why
attain.
did these particular 4 characters have
Advanced
those
classes
particular 4
are
blaze
masters
arts?
of their skills. Cataphracts have the mobility of
How
horses
is it
with
involved in their
defense of heavily armored
backstories?
units.
What comes of it in their futures?
Guardians are skilled with both spears and white magic.
I really like the Guardian class. It's
Plus other classes that possess a
really neat,
combination
kind
of
of,
strengths.
very clear paladin
You'll also find
type.
the overwhelmingly powerful elephant riders and other classes that fight while astride giant beasts.
You defeat me?
Seteth. Supposedly a character from Three Houses,
Between matches, you'll have time to get ready for
but
what's
yeah,
to
a
come.
lot of people
You'll receive some
really
useful
got
intel
excited
about your next opponent.
when they saw Seteth
So
there.
use this information while exploring Daxian. Or
I don't really know anything about it
Your
because,
team's
as I've
prowess
mentioned,
in
this is
battle.
my first Fire Emblem game.
time is yours to spend.
So delicious.
But maybe I'll do some research and figure out what the deal with him is.
Let's look at some of the things you can do in Daxian. The Arena Plaza is where you can receive additional training.
I'm a
once per
little bit
week
worried
in the
about all
time
this
between
because
matches.
there's so much
As your skills improve,
that I'm
you'll learn
worried
new
I'll get
moves to use in
overwhelmed
battle and
about,
be able to
you know,
wield increasingly strong.
how am I going to keep my schedule.
On match days, you can
How am
watch
I
battles between other participants
going to
on
make sure that I get
to
back on
research
time
your
for the next
opponents.
match? That's probably going to be my biggest challenge.
At the shopping arcade,
Welcome.
you'll purchase weapons and tools, or enhance your
especially with
weapons
the,
using materials you
uh,
collected.
Part that happens outside the city.
This temple row is watched over by a bronze statue of the divine sovereign and is home to 7 temples.
Attention
Depending
to
on
detail.
which temple you volunteer in, you'll acquire a blessing to use in battle.
So there's 7
These
temples.
provide
huh?
effects such as a temporary stat buff, halving the damage you receive, and more. Speak to an exam proctor.
I wonder,
to
are
take a
those
certification exam.
Blessings only for the hero character or for the
chance of
entire
success
party?
depends on who's taking the test and the class they're aiming for. So be sure they have the necessary skills before applying.
To attain the pleasure I seek.
You can
appearance
also
of the
receive
Shido is kind of
quests from
weird.
townsfolk. Complete them
On the
by
one
hitting
hand,
the
it's
deadline to
very
receive
Japanese
rewards.
samurai-ish inspired,
You never know who might ask for your help.
in this matter.
The Divine Sovereign?
but also a
someone of
lot
our
of
stature be
classic
here?
Greco-Roman appearance to it.
You can also recruit
And-
powerful warriors you meet in Daxian.
Yeah, the quests all the stuff you can do in town, all the stuff you can do out of town. I'm really worried that it's going to completely overwhelm me.
Or invite them to share a meal. That might be enough to win them over. At inns, not only can you lodge and eat,
I'm going
but you
to
can
be
let
very
time
tempted to
pass
always
gain
just
experience and gather
go to the
materials
inn
automatically.
and just put everything on auto activity.
Looking good.
Characters who've grown close may converse and show their support to each other here too.
Oh, and can I get a raise? Then I'd be psyched to work even harder.
Thanks, Kai. I came here to say I was pulling for you, but it went the other way around.
As your journey continues, you'll gain access to even more facilities.
Remember this for a long time to come.
This is the Pale Raven's
Yeah,
Perch.
this
The
caused a
spot where
lot of
mysterious
excitement
white bird rests its wings.
because
From
you have
here,
4 different
you can
paths here,
swap to a different hero.
and apparently
Progress
in
is
every
saved for
other
each of the
Fire Emblem that had
heroes,
multiple
so playing
paths, you
through
have to
all
play the
4
game
of their
multiple times to
stories
get
in
each
parallel
path.
is
In
an
this
option.
game, you can do all paths at once, which on the one hand is really cool
When you venture
on that
outside of
in that
Dagger,
way.
you can explore areas
But there's
across
also the
continent.
problem that, for me at least, is going to make things a
Time
lot
passes
more
every time
overwhelming.
you
How do I
move,
keep
so
everything
plan your
organized
expeditions carefully.
for 4 different characters? I'm not even confident I could do that for
Visit
one
towns
character.
to purchase local wares
Anything you'd like?
or gather information that could be useful on your adventure. Travel with your allies to improve everyone's abilities in battle. Enemies will randomly appear on the world map. When you encounter one, a skirmish will begin.
Final Fantasy Tactics inspired.
Earn experience points by felling your foes. You'll also find dungeons where you'll collect materials for strengthening weapons, along with other treasures.
So that part seems like
When
it's
you encounter enemies roaming in a dungeon,
more action-oriented
a
than
turn-based
RPG-oriented,
clash that differs from
where you're
normal
going in and
battles
destroying
will
rocks and
begin.
opening treasure chests.
In clashes, you can perform attack combos with your allies.
And then there's this business.
Plus, each of the 4 heroes
And that part
have
there,
abilities that are
more like
unique to them.
Xenoblade than Fire
For
Emblem.
instance,
Because you
Dietrich
had
can flush out enemies in
classic,
hiding,
medieval RPG elements
while
next to
Theodora
science
can
fiction
recruit soldiers
stuff.
in towns. And
First
send
time I
out
watched this, I was like,
assembled
whoa,
troops to gather materials
they're putting Xenoblade up in here.
or deploy them in battle.
Will not miss this chance.
Need some help!
Make the most of these commands to
Kai can
enhance your
tame
power of battle.
monsters, and Lita can get presents and money from people by performing in towns. Honestly, Theodora seems to get the best of it with that hero-specific skill on the map.
Draw now upon your strength. Hold fast to the devotion in your beating hearts. For those who stand upon the final stage, I shall grant.
I wonder if
whatever
None
wish
with
you
Gun
may desire.
is some
So
kind of
say
rival
I,
for
the
Kai's
divine
friend there.
sovereign. That I vow to you.
They sure seem to be
People of
fighting
Vexia,
each other there.
Hear me now as I declare that the heroic games
Uses her blaze art there.
have begun.
And then we go into the time skip here. So yeah, I see a lot of people are apparently assuming, because this is where it's put in the direct, that this means that this is the end of the game. That you go through the 4 hero paths first, and then you get to this part. And I think that's backwards. I think we get to this part first.
In time slow, see the glow.
I see that my song has finally reached your ears.
Apparently that's a potential evidence for this being a prequel to Three Houses instead of sequel. Because
Dagda faces its end at the hands
so
of the
this there is
revived
adult
demon
size.
god Balor.
So yeah, I think the game starts with them showing us Balor's birth.
Even the 4 heroes who played a
And the
significant
attack on
role in
Dagda.
the heroic games have vanished. To
And
confront
then
the situation, the progenitor god,
The years
Sophis,
were long.
calls down a single soul.
And Sophis calls down Ishmael here. And I don't know if it's going to be a cutscene or actual RPG action. But then we'll see the beginning
is
of the conflict.
story's true protagonist. You are given 2 choices. Face the forces of the demon god Balor on your own, with the knowledge that it's no easy task. Or use the time-traveling powers of the goddess Fortuna to change the fates of the 4 heroes.
People have noted that it's kind of
You
like,
must carve your path in the hope
kind of sort of
saving
like the 2
Dagda
recent
from
Zelda
destruction.
games, Breath of the Wild and
Those
Tears of the
who
Kingdom.
join you in the future will strengthen the might of your assembled
Where
forces.
if you want to, you can
This
go
is
straight
where
to the
your
final
story
boss.
begins. The end of the world at
You-
the hands of the demon god.
You start the game and then you can just go straight to the end. You could do that here also.
Which path will you walk?
Or you can get your 4
rest
allies.
Is up to you.
Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave launches September 17th, only on the Nintendo Switch 2 system. Pre-orders
Get
are
that
available
business
now
squared
on
away, get your
Nintendo
4
eShop.
allies, and then go to
Fire
the
Emblem
end.
Fortune's Weave Dagden collection, which includes a 150-page art book, 12 character art cards, and more will be available the same day.
Yeah, I won't be getting that. I'm just going to be getting the game. I don't need an art book. It's
Plus, more
cool for
Fire
people who
Emblem
like it,
content
though.
will be
It's
available following this presentation.
always kind of neat to see them
Nintendo Music,
put
a
out that
service
kind
that
of,
lets you listen to Nintendo game music anytime, anywhere.
you know, that kind
Updated
of
with certain tracks
fan
from this
service.
game, including the main theme, later today. Additionally, the Nintendo Today smart device app, which brings you daily updates from Nintendo, will receive a new Fire Emblem theme beginning tomorrow.
Yeah.
The app will also feature new information
I don't
about
use
Fire
Nintendo
Emblem
Today.
Fortune's Weave leading up to launch. There will also be a new Ask the Developer article, in which developers share their thoughts about working on this game on September 15th.
I'm undecided if I'm going to bother reading that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game because all those questions that I was bringing up, I'm really looking forward to getting answers to them, like the Blaze Arts. What the heck are those? Why does Kai have that thing jammed in his hand that allows him to, shoot out dark power? And am I correct that we're going to start with Ishmael being sent in and have him sort of realize the hard way that, hey, I don't have what it takes to do this myself. Do I try anyway, or do I go back in time to get the 4 heroes? Yeah, I really do think that's going to be the start of the game, and then we, use the Goddess Fortuna's power to go through the 4 hero stories. And another thing I'm wondering, do we have to go through a hero's story in order to have them after the time skip? In order to bring them into the fight against Balor? Or could we just not do their story and then still get them later? I strongly suspect it's the first one. I think I would be fairly surprised if you can get one of the heroes without going through their story first. That's always an option, but I would be surprised if that's the way they go. I really would think that you have to go through a hero's story, see the end of their story in the heroic games before Ishmael could have them for his quest. And also, how exactly are the heroic games going to end? There's very faint hints of some kind of larger threat that the four heroes will face during the games, and it has something to do with, or it appears like it's going to have something to do with the quote-unquote white-maned demon who murdered Lida's father, and who apparently Dietrich wants to fight also. Somehow he hears about this white-maned demon and he wants to fight him. And is he somehow also involved in Kai's father being imprisoned? Is he somehow involved in Theodora's quest? Yeah. And is he the greater scope villain of the heroic games? Or is he a servant of whoever turns out to be the greater scope villain of the games? So many questions that I'm really looking forward to getting the answers to. This is going to be my first Fire Emblem game, and like I said, not playing it on the channel. This kind of story-heavy involved RPG, yeah, I learned my lesson on that score with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a lot of fun, but man, playing it on my channel was a huge burden. I'm not going to do that to myself again. Yeah, looking forward to this. I'm not sure I'm going to go back and play any other Fire Emblem games, though. I don't really feel the urge for it, at least not yet. I'll play Fortune's Weave, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll go back and pick up Three Houses. Yeah, we'll see. So, viewers, this has been the Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave Nintendo Direct, and my thoughts on the Direct and on the game. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Come September, I will have the game, and I'll be playing it, off screen. And maybe I'll mention it a few more times. Maybe I'll even put something on screen. Like a single episode, the opening of the game, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are looking forward to it also, and if you're not, well, there's going to be plenty more to play, so don't worry too much. So yeah, that was Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave Nintendo Direct, and thanks for watching with me, thanks for listening to my thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Later.